Hey, you guys. So, I was just thinking about the fact that being an entrepreneur has always felt kind of uncomfortable and distasteful to me. Like, the little secretary in me wants to figure out the process and put everything in its envelope and stamp it off and do the right thing. And it just feels, I don't know, formulaic and contrived and whatnot. But I feel like I've had this I don't know, this thing that's coming through me that doesn't really fit into anything. So I'm like, well, maybe I just have to make it up. And as I talk to people, they keep asking me kind of very similar questions. It's like, well, what are you doing? What's the pain point? What's the benefit? Who are you doing it for? Right? And so I'm like, well, I love it. I'll give it a shot. And I feel like over the last couple of months, I've kind of gotten this sense of what it is that I do. It's these journeys that start with sensations in the body and turn into images of landscapes and organically unfold in this magical way that's really profound for folks and connecting and bringing meaning. And then I've been thinking about, well, who do I do it for? Who's really I mean, it's not going to work for everybody, right? It's not everybody's cup of tea. And I had this term come to me tonight. I've been playing around with different words and things that didn't feel quite right. And what came to me was homesick empaths. And I started thinking about unpacking that and the idea of homesickness. It's not just for a place, it's for a people, it's for a purpose. It can be for all kinds of things. It can be for a place that we've had or a sense of connection or belonging that we lost, or maybe something that we've never had. We always feel a little alien. And I think about how, my whole life can really be seen through that lens of having a sense of belonging to place in my mother's garden and with my family, but having my brother and sister move away when I was relatively young and always kind of living with this dread of growing up and leaving home and where am I going to belong and what am I going to do? And my whole life really being this just string of short experiences of deep connection with a landscape in nature or a particular home or a relationship or a group of people or a cause and then losing it. And all of these kinds of survival strategies that I've developed to try to cope with that and explain that have really brought me to this place of, well, what can I ultimately really belong to? And can I actually also belong to the experience of homesickness? I think so many people that I talk with feel like they're not even from this planet. And how do we stay engaged and reconcile that? Can I, how do I live with homesickness being a thing while also finding something to belong to now? And then thinking about the idea of being an empath, and that's a term that's really being tossed around a lot just as we're honoring sensitivity in all of its different levels. And for me, I feel like it's really the ability to feel deeply and to also feel the other's experience. I mean, I think we can be empaths through seeing the way other people see, through feeling what they feel, through sensing what they sense. I mean, for me, I kind of identify as being a physical empath where I feel things very intensely in my body and I feel not necessarily what other people are feeling emotionally, but I feel kind of an essential self, an essential kind of essence of people. And one of the things that's really difficult for me is when someone's not in touch with that or is denying that and their behavior is kind of dissonant with their essential self. For a long time, I felt like I was judgy or wrong or weird, that I wasn't getting them. But part of what I'm coming to understand is that I'm just sensing into something that they can't or don't want to see. And so when I can connect with someone who's really transparent and wants to know, and I can honor that essential self and see it and articulate it, it's the coolest thing. And it also means that, the way that I connect with nature, I mean, lots of people like to go out and feel more at peace and enjoy the beautiful landscape and the air, fresh air, and the exercise. But I'm actually feeling what it's like to have a tree's body, to have a bird's body, feeling my skeleton change, my skin change, my perception change. And it makes me think that so much of what language is us trying to put our experience into words so that someone else can understand. And when we can just feel right into what it's like to be them, it's so profoundly connecting. And all of a sudden, in that moment, any sense of homesickness becomes irrelevant. We belong to ourselves, we belong to this experience with this other person. And even when we're totally alone, we can do that with other beings that have different bodies. So, really, seeing and honoring the unique element of suffering that's present in being an empath in a world that does not honor sensitivity, and being homesick in a world that in many ways is becoming more disconnected and more on fire, but feeling how that longing and that sensitivity is also the medicine at the same time. It kind of blows my mind and excites me. So I was just really excited about sharing that with you guys.